Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Cathy McGrath, and I'm one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 17, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. And today's issue of the Neepawa Banner and Press is for Friday, November 21st, 2025. And it's coming, boys and girls. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. As the holiday season draws near, a Town of Neepawa employee hangs a light display on a light pole down Mountain Avenue. And continuing with the front page, Doctors for All and More on the Way by Joshua Jackson. The Beautiful Plains Community Medical Clinic, BPCMC, hit a major milestone, clearing the Doctor Finders list. That means every area resident should now have a family physician unless they have chosen to wait. This was accomplished through the Family Doctor Finder, the Government of Manitoba's tool that connects you to healthcare professionals, providing a base for your healthcare needs. With this milestone achieved, the BPCMC isn't stopping there. At the latest Neepawa Town Council meeting, Councillor Murray Parrott announced the clinic will be renovated to house 8 more examination rooms and space for 4 new doctors to come to the clinic. The expansion is slated to be completed by summer of 2026. And continuing, a privilege to be a growing rural community. There are many areas of our community that need expanded services. We are privileged to be a growing rural community that can provide all services, said Parrott. We continue to attract new people to live here, raise their families, enhance their careers, or retire safely. The center's history stretches back to the 1960s, when several local physicians operated independent practices before joining forces to open the Neepawa Medical and Dental Clinic in February of 1970. In 1984, the building was purchased by Dr. David Chapman, and Dr. George Ong later established his own clinic in 1996. To safeguard the future of local health care, in 2010, the Neepawa Area Development Corporation, supported by the town of Neepawa and surrounding municipalities, acquired the facility and has made several changes to this day. According to Neepawa's website, the Prairie Mountain Health Region encompasses a geographic area of nearly 67,000 square kilometers and is home to over 170,000 residents. Prairie Mountain contains 20 acute care hospital sites, 43 long-term care, personal care home sites with over 7,500 employees. The expansion project will be funded by Neepawa's Farm and Leisure Lottery happening in 2026. Parrott also acknowledged that the efforts of long-established citizens and professionals in the area, whose contributions have helped Neepawa become a leader in healthcare service expansion. This project aligns with the aggressive long-range planning that Neepawa and the surrounding municipalities have endeavored to maintain, along with each municipality's share of the financial commitment toward our new regional hospital, he said. The expansion of the Beautiful Plains Community Medical Clinic pairs well with Neepawa's new hospital, which is under construction. The hospital will contain 60 acute care inpatient beds, up from 35 at the current hospital's Neepawa site, an expanded emergency department, and an enhanced space for programs such as surgery, diagnostics, and palliative care, as well as various outpatient services. He noted that registration with physicians at the clinic is now closed to new patients. Residents who do not yet have a family doctor are encouraged to register with the provincial Family Doctor Finder program. And moving on, a donation given to Polonia Hall. Neepawa Rotary President Rain Pryor is shown presenting a check for $700 to Polonia Community Hall President Kim Martin. The funds will help cover the cost of a recently purchased AED for the hall. Given the distance from a hospital and the limited phone service in Polonia, the availability of the medical device for visitors and volunteers could be life-saving. Martin gave a brief presentation about the hall history, the current facility, the community, and community events, including themed dinners. And recognizing 7 decades of service by Casper Warehan. And pictured, Merv Dagg receives his 70-year service pin from Legion No. 23 President Lloyd Hall on Thursday, November 13th. A whopping 7 decades of dedication was honored last week. On Thursday, November 13th, the Neepawa branch of the Royal Canadian Legion presented Merv Dagg with a 70-year service pin. Dagg, who currently resides at Neepawa's Country Meadows Personal Care Home, first joined Legion Branch 23 in 1955. He's one of our last veterans, too, said Legion No. 23 President Lloyd Hall, who made the presentation to Dagg. He was ready to go overseas when the armistice was signed in 1945. Congratulations are extended to Dagg on this landmark occasion. And an eye on retirement. Dr. Gerald Murray concludes his optometrist practice by Owen Devereaux. And pictured, Friday, November 14th, was Dr. Gerald Murray's final day operating his optical practice. Dr. Murray has served as an eye doctor in Neepawa since 1998. After over 5 decades dedicated to serving patients across Manitoba, Dr. Gerald Murray has decided it's time to step away from his optical practice. Friday, November 14th, was Dr. Murray's last day as an optometrist, as he has officially retired his practice at Neepawa Village Optical. Dr. Murray has been an eye doctor for 52 years, having worked over the years in Portage la Prairie, Winnipeg, and Neepawa. His practice has been a cornerstone for the downtown since 1998. But while Dr. Murray's time at 418 Mountain Avenue has concluded, the location will continue to serve our community in the same manner. Dr. Kara van der Heijden, Dr. Megan Brunen, and the team from the Willowbrook Eye Care are carrying the provincial torch and proverbial torch and setting up a practice in that same building. As for Dr. Murray's last day, a come-and-go celebration was held at the office on Friday to give those patients he served through the years a chance to wish him well. Dr. Murray said that he is thankful for all the well wishes he has received, adding that it has been a privilege to be a part of the community for just over half of his professional life. These pages are hard to turn sometimes. There we go. And Perspectives, Right in the Center by Ken Waddell. Keeping the Canadian content in Canadian football. This column is written on Grey Cup Day, and yes, it's about football. I love Canadian football. I have friends who much prefer the National Football League, NFL, game. In spite of how hyped the NFL is, I still prefer the Canadian Football League, the CFL. It's a matter of choice, and each person can have their own opinion. We all know that not many CFL players do well in the NFL. A few do, but the NFL seems to be able to demand and pay for a higher skill level. I played CFL rules football in high school, way back in the late 60s, for 3 seasons. It was an absolute highlight of my high school days. I played high school hockey too, and limped my way into beer league hockey into the 70s and early 80s, but it was football where I felt I could really contribute as a player. I was the largest kid, read fattest if you must, on my high school team. I played center, and I practiced with my dad, my mom, and by myself. I could block, I could do the short snap and the long snap. We were, for the day and level of football, a pretty competitive team, winning the league championship once, and I believe placed second twice. Now that the CFL has announced some rule changes, I am not impressed. I like the 55-yard line center field. I like the goalposts on the goal line, and the fact that a missed field goal can be returned for a gain, sometimes a big gain, and even a touchdown. Same with the long punt. I am of the opinion that the CFL bosses are somehow thinking if they adopt the NFL rules, they may attract more fans. More fans isn't our concern, as Winnipeg and Saskatchewan usually sell out their stadiums. If there are some empty seats in Eastern Canadian stadiums, I say tough luck to them. I have little sympathy for Ottawa, Hamilton, or Montreal. I have no sympathy for Toronto. CFLPA President Solomon Elimanian in Winnipeg via TSN. We were informed about these changes, but not consulted. That won't happen again. We've had positive conversations with Commissioner Stuart Johnson and the League about our expectations to be consulted on any future changes to our game. Rule adjustments can directly affect or fundamentally alter members' jobs, and it's important players' perspectives are heard. Again, on TSN, Canadian quarterback Nathan Rourke had harsher words. He feels the same way about the CFL's changes to its 3-down gamer. New rule changes are garbage. It's garbage. I, as many people did, who are fans and people who play in this league, grew up watching the CFL and loving the game. I grew up in Ontario, played Canadian football rules all my life. I went down to the States proud of the game, being able to explain the differences, the waggle, the yard, the extra person. These are the things that are unique about the game that makes it different. I was aware and was a fan of the league down there, but was a fan of the CFL because of its differences, Rourke said. In fairness, some players say the new rules will make for more exciting games. I am not convinced. And there is a disclaimer that the views expressed in this column are the writer's personal views and are not to be taken as being the view of the newspaper staff. But I agree with Ken. I prefer Canadian football. And Home Buddies by Rita Friesen. Pithy sayings and old wives' tales. For those unfamiliar with the term pithy, it is an adjective meaning concise and forcefully expressive. I know, not far removed in pronunciation from another too common term. One of the distinct perks of walking the Erie and I enjoy daily are the people with whom we stop and chat. Sometimes it's a casual and laughter-filled conversation, sometimes heavy, and sometimes a bit of both. A catch-up without the coffee. This week I heard an expression that was entirely new to me. Just because you tear up the road map, it doesn't change where the roads are. I've been known to tear up a few maps, turned a blind eye to the reality of a situation rather than trying to find my way through a maze or tangled undergrowth or discern a path I don't wish to travel. Not once did the roads change. Man, this expression can cover up so many situations. Relationship concerns, deep-seated beliefs that may be contrary to ones I cherish. Simply doing what needs to be done even when I seek to resist accepting the responsibility. The saying may be as old as Adam, but it's the first time I heard it. Thank you, Betty, for something to think about. Wives' Tales and Elbow Grease, complied and printed by the Anemone Rebecca Lodge 23, Neepawa, Manitoba, was published in 1995 to commemorate Manitoba's 125th anniversary. Certainly I am thankful for modern-day medicine. For a cold, Mother gave us a teaspoon of kola oil with just a little white sugar. For sore joints, apply equal parts of whiskey and vinegar. For a sore throat, place a piece of brown paper saturated with kerosene oil around the neck and gargle with a solution made of equal parts of salt and alum in warm water. I don't hear or see much about boils or carbuncles anymore. Perhaps they are a thing of the past? Some folks believed that eating a pound of raisins would purify the blood and clear any boil forever. This booklet suggests making a mixture of chewing tobacco and spit and applying it to the boil and cover with a bandage. I'll eat a pound of raisins. Folks were more suspicious or acknowledged their superstitions. Never put shoes on the table. It is bad luck to cut toenails or fingernails on a Friday or a Sunday. I suppose with bath night being Saturday? Don't put your purse on the bingo table. You'll have bad luck. Watch for this at your next bingo night. When baking, always stir the batter in the same direction to prevent a failure. Sure wish I'd known this years earlier. Whenever you sneeze, a spirit leaves your body. How do you even bring that into casual conversation? And then there is a whole lot of sayings I can vouch for. Don't meet trouble halfway. It is quite capable of making the whole journey alone. The best way for a housewife to have a few minutes alone is to do the dishes. Yep. Better to wear out than rust out. Doing beats doing. Trust you get a good chuckle and stirred some very early memories. And we move on to Faithfully Yours by Neil Stroshine. Priorities. Today's words are addressed to those who, after many years of active service to family, community, church, and country, are facing the most important decision they will ever be asked to make. I understand your dilemma. You are tired, your body is telling you that you need to slow down, and you are ready to transition to a quieter lifestyle. Here are 4 things to consider as you map out your choices and future plans. First, What values or beliefs ground you, providing the foundation stones on which you have and will continue to build your life? For me, the answer is found in St. Paul's words to the Corinthians. No one can lay any foundation other than the one that has been laid. That foundation is Jesus Christ. 1 Corinthians 3:11. My belief in God and my faith in Jesus Christ have never been negotiable, nor has my commitment in governing my life by the teachings of the Scriptures. I will be honest, I haven't always lived up to the level of what I know, but I have found forgiveness, freedom from guilt, and a second chance at life thanks to the knowledge that Christ died for my sins and that by believing in him, I am forgiven. Second, personal self-care. If there is one area in which we fail, it is this. In last week's column, I shared that I have had 2 episodes of total burnout. In diagnosing the first one, my doctor told me that in his opinion, I was the best candidate for a nervous breakdown, a heart attack, or both, and that my chance of recovery were slim to none. That put the fear of God in me like nothing has ever done before. He ordered me to cut back my working hours to half-time. That order, which I followed, saved my life. The symptoms of burnout have returned for a 3rd time, and with them has come a nagging fear that, through my own lack of self-care, my wife might have to face a time when her primary caregiver needs more care than she does, so changes will be made. Third, family. Our son's sudden death left a huge hole in our family, but it also opened our eyes to another family, a family not bound by blood, but by love and faithfulness. It isn't large, but it is made up of some very special people. They have supported us over the past year, and now we are ready to support them should they ever need our help. Finally, work and other activities. This will be the most difficult decision for any of us to make. Work isn't an option for any of us. We need money to pay our bills, to provide our families with the food, clothing, transportation, and shelter that they need, and to have some extra in store for emergency expenses, donations to causes in which we believe, and times away from the hustle and bustle of life. If we don't work, we don't eat. It is as simple as that. So work we must, and work we will. But the work we choose should do 2 things: provide enough income to meet our needs, and do so without consuming every waking hour of our day. Finding that balance is hard, but it can be done. Next week, I will speak about my own struggle to bring my work life into balance, and part of what that will mean for me and my family going forward. And we have the Gladstone Auction Market Report by Blaine Houston. The market was a little lower than what we've seen last week. We sold 1,562 head Tuesday, November 18th. Here are some market highlights from yesterday's sale. 4 red exotic steers weighing 562 pounds bring $6.64 a pound, or $37.33 a head. 3 black steer calves come in the ring weighing 643 pounds and cash in at $5.75 a pound, $36.97 per head. 3 red and black calves weighing 768 pounds stamped their ticket at $4.87.5 a pound, or $37.44 a head. On the heifer side of things, 8 red exotic heifers weighing 548 pounds bring $5.90 per pound, or $32.31 per head. And 5 red exotic heifers weighing 664 pounds and fetched $5.28 per pound, or $35.07 per head. Red white face heifers weighing 740 pounds bring $4.57 a pound, or $33.81 a head. Plainer type cattle are still seeing some discounts. If your cattle are not weaned for at least 6 weeks, expect an aggressive discount. And then we have some letters. QP finds favor with Manitoba's throne speech. Manitoba's largest labour union says the NDP government's blueprint for the year ahead is on the right track and offers important improvements for workers and seniors, including patient-to-staff ratios in long-term care. QP urges the province to invest in public services adjacent to northern development and continue building a strong public sector that provides valuable services and good jobs for Manitobans. 2 years into the NDP's term, and we are seeing continued improvements in the lives of workers and their families, says Gina McKay, president of QP Manitoba. Healthcare in Manitoba has seen significant improvements over the past 2 years, including thousands of new workers hired, historic wage improvements for frontline support staff, and first-time ever pension and benefit coverage for home care workers. CUPE has lobbied for over a decade for legislated minimum staff-to-patient ratios and is pleased to see this generational improvement in the lives of seniors. The government has really stepped up to the plate on healthcare, says Margaret Schroeder, president of CUPE 204. Legislating patient-to-staff ratios will be a game changer in long-term care, keeping seniors safe and comfortable. There is still more work to be done, but we know the government is responsive to frontline healthcare workers' needs, including adding more staff into the system. Stronger staff-to-patient ratios will ensure our seniors and patients get the care they deserve, added Schroeder. This is a huge win for the healthcare system and will result in a major reduction in staffing shortages. CUPE appreciates the government's commitment to eliminating sick note requirements for absences under 7 days. CUPE supports the government's plan to grow hydro to provide clean, public, affordable energy to Manitobans. We see the government's commitment to hydro, whether that's energy efficiency or expanded energy production, as really important to growing Manitoba's economy, said Michelle Bergen, president of CUPE 998. Highlighting Manitoba's plans to reach a net zero is really exciting part of this throne speech. CUPE supports the government's continued commitment to expand access to childcare in Manitoba. We still have a childcare space deficit in Manitoba, says Mackay. 400 new spaces in schools will help ensure school division offer before and after school programs in all primary schools. This was submitted by the Canadian Union of Public Employees. Oh, and here's good news. Kaharski DeKoss win the National Culinary Competition. The results are in from the Taste Canada's 2025 Cook the Books Culinary Competition held in Toronto on November 9th and 10th. As of November 10th, Assiniboine College students Alicia DeKoss and Presley Kaharski are officially Canada's best new student chefs. The duo were required to prepare dishes live in front of the audience and judges. Congratulations! Kaharski has ties to Neepawa and the surrounding area, including her former involvement as the instructor of the Field to Table Club hosted at Arts Forward. Congratulations, ladies. And Your Listening Ear by Delcy Martin. The New Face of Bullying, Why the Problem Isn't Going Away. Bullying continues to be one of the most persistent and damaging issues facing Canadian youth, despite decades of awareness, campaigns, and school-based prevention programs. While many schools have implemented zero-tolerance policies, the realities of bullying suggest that it's more subtle, complex, and difficult to detect than ever before. Traditional forms of bullying, such as name-calling, exclusion, and physical intimidation, are still common, but digital bullying has added extra layers to this ever-growing problem. Cyberbullying allows for hurtful messages, rumors, and images to spread rapidly and remain online indefinitely, increasing the emotional impacts to young people. Students no longer can escape bullying when they go home. It follows them on their devices. The effects of bullying are long-lasting, causing anxiety, depression, lower academic achievement, and difficulties in forming trusting relationships. For some, bullying becomes a daily barrier to feeling safe, confident, and connected at school and now home. While many assume bullying is about aggressive behavior, its roots are in power and control. Children who engage in bullying often do so to maintain social status, cope with their own insecurities, or mere behaviors they are seeing at home and online. There is hope that behavior can change with intervention and support. Social media has made the bystander effect more intense. Students may witness bullying online without knowing how to respond, or are scared of getting involved. Research consistently shows that if peers become involved, bullying stops quickly. Empowering kids to safely speak up is one of the most effective strategies for reducing harm. A couple of things we can advise our kids to say is, "We don't talk to people like that here," or "Not cool, let's be better than that." Schools are turning to whole community approaches that address bullying from multiple angles. These can be classroom lectures on empathy, dedicated mental health classroom supports, presentations on digital plus literacy, and restorative practices. We can also look to Indigenous-informed approaches such as emphasizing relational responsibility, community care, and the importance of helping others feel like they belong. Parents play a crucial role as well. Often communications, carefully monitoring online activity, and modeling healthy conflict management can all be tools in helping kids get on the right path. Experts encourage parents to document incidents of bullying, communicate to the school early, and seek professional support if your child is in a distress. Despite the challenges, we can remain optimistic. Students are more willing than ever to talk about mental health challenges and the impacts of harmful behavior. Schools are also much better equipped with resources than they have ever been. Meaningful change requires ongoing effort. Bullying may be an old problem, but the modern forms of it deserve renewed attention. Creating safer schools is a community responsibility, and it's only through collective action that students can feel safe, supported, and free to learn. And just to add, maybe the BPCF 30th Anniversary Gala. It's the last chance to purchase tickets. Join us as we celebrate 30 years of building a stronger, more vibrant community. The Beautiful Plains Community Foundation is thrilled to host a special 30th Anniversary Gala on Saturday, December 6th, with doors opening at 6:30 p.m., located at the Yellowhead Hall. Whoops, now I'm ripping the paper. And Neepawa Lily Festival. Lots of history, but is there a future? By Ken Waddell. For 18 years, the Neepawa Lily Festival was a signature go-to event for thousands of people across Manitoba, and to some extent across Canada, and for a number of international travelers. The festival was the vision of Eleanor Nicholson and the late Barry Stroman. Stroman founded the Lily Nook, and it's still in business today, operated by his son Nigel and the Stroman family, along with a group of dedicated staff. In the 1990s, with thousands of varieties of lilies growing in the Nook, and with nearly every home in Neepawa area showing off a wide variety of lilies, Neepawa was able to lay claim to the title Lily Capital of the World. No one ever disputed that claim. But time moved on. The Lily Festival committee members got older and weren't able to carry on. There was also some opposition to the festival carrying on as well. The last Lily Festival was held in 2014. Now in the interim time frame, the lily beetle has decimated a lot of lily beds. Lily growers say that beetles can be picked off the plants, but it is painstaking and tedious. I've been told that there is no legal insecticide license for use in Canada that can control the little critters. Looking back, the festival started as a 5-day event, but later became a Thursday through Sunday weekend event. Hamilton Street between Mountain and Brown was closed off. Large tents were set up. Live entertainment played through the festival. There were special meals, pancake breakfast. Lilies were sold. There were so many vendors, there was a waiting list. The parade was attended by many people, perhaps over 2,000. There were 250 volunteers. The budget for the festival was nearly $100,000, funded by provincial and corporate grants, sponsorship, and festival advertising. Support from the town of Neepawa was significant. There was admission fees and other revenue. The festival usually made a profit. The festival had a year-round coordinator who worked 3 days a week and full-time right around the festival dates to coordinate with the peak of the lily boom. The date was the weekend for the third full week of July. On several occasions, the festival committee and volunteers attended trade shows on behalf of Neepawa's tourism and business efforts. The festival put Neepawa on the map in daily newspapers and national magazines. Local coverage was extensive, as well as on radio, TV, and the internet. The Lily Festival Committee still exists as a shadow of its former self. The Neepawa Lily Festival name is still in existence and registered. There is a bank account with a small amount of money. The question is now, what to do next? The only visible function of the Lily Festival is the upkeep of the town-owned piece of land known as Gertrude Williams Park on Highway 16 in Neepawa. The land for the park was donated to the town of Neepawa to be kept as a park in perpetuity. A dedicated group of volunteers have been doing that for many years. According to the festival constitution, if it dissolves, the money has to be turned over to the town of Neepawa. The town doesn't want money or the responsibility of looking after the park. Again, what should the committee be doing for going forward? The Lely Festival was a lot of work, a lot of fun, and generated considerable tourism and commercial dollars for the town. The festival had a strong appeal to all cultural groups in the area. We will get asked, when will a festival come back, or an event of that magnitude? The question now is, what does the community want to see happen? Does the town, the community, the area want to see the festival come back? Or should it just stay away? Dauphin has Country Fest and the National Ukrainian Festival. Minnedosa has Rock on the Field. Arden has the White Mud Music Festival. And Kelwood has many years of the Harvest Sun Music Festival. What do we have? It would be good to hear our readers' views on this. It wouldn't take much time to email me a note about your thoughts. It would be greatly appreciated. Contact me at kwaddell@neepawabanner.com. And there are a couple pictures here. They're hard to see. Scenes from the 2012 edition of the Lely Festival. For 18 years, the Neepawa Lely Festival was a signature go-to event for thousands of people across Manitoba, and to some extent across Canada, and for a number of international travelers. The last Lely Festival was held in 2014. And though it's hard to see, up here in the top picture is a huge crowd of participants, and pictured afloat in the Lely Festival parade and part of the Lely Festival show. And we'll move on. Neepawa 4-H Club lends a helping hand. Members of Neepawa's Bells, Bow and Builders 4-H Club with Amanda Nottingale of the Neepawa Salvation Army. By Lynn Davidson of the Neepawa 4-H Club. Have you ever wondered how a group of friends your age can make a big difference in your community? Well, let me tell you about the Neepawa 4-H group called Bells, Bows and Builders. On November 3rd, 2025, these awesome kids rolled up their sleeves and volunteered at the new Salvation Army thrift store to help with a food drive. This wasn't just any food drive. It was all about supporting families in need, from toddlers to grandparents, right in our town. With their energy and enthusiasm, this group is not just having fun, they're also learning the power of giving back and connecting with your community. So, if you're curious about how you can join in and make a change, keep reading. The Salvation Army Food Bank caters to individuals of all ages, races, and genders, and the Bells, Bow, and Builders frequently lend a hand at the food bank. The provision supplied by the bank comes from generous local citizens, philanthropic donations, and purchases from retail establishments. The 4-H Club helped with sorting and organizing the food. Multiple volunteers came to assist at the Salvation Army, with a significant portion consisting of youth aged 13 to 17. Notably, this demographic also represents the primary clientele of the food bank, as 40 to 50% of consumers are under 17. The Salvation Army also serves approximately 30% of individuals over the age of 60. The food bank has a historic legacy, having been in existence since the establishment of the permanent thrift store in 1994, as shared by Amanda Nottingale, one of the food bank's most dedicated advocates and the overseer of the Salvation Army. The new facility has meeting spaces, communal kitchen, and even a shopping-style food bank equipped with a point system. These meeting areas are slated to be accessible to the community in the future, but they are currently undergoing renovations. This venue occupies the former site of Rock and Animal House, a building connected to the original Salvation Army. If you wish to volunteer or assist at any of the Salvation Army's events, including bell ringing, food drives, and various other initiatives, please reach out to Amanda Nottingale at the thrift store, Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. For those interested in volunteering or donating, they graciously accept most donations, but are unable to take mattresses or furniture. Call the Salvation Army at 204-476-5869. If you are eager to join the Neepawa Bells, Bow and Builders, please contact Cindy Zubert. We are always delighted to welcome new members. And Province commits to Carberry overpass in throne speech by the Banner staff. The Manitoba government has promised to build an overpass at the Trans-Canada Highway intersection just north of Carberry. That pledge came from Major Wab Canoe, was part of the provincial throne speech on Tuesday, November 18th. The overpass will replace the current intersection of Highways 1 and 5, which currently has stop signs at the north and south entrances and a yield sign in the median. The creation of the overpass has been advanced as an effort to improve safety at the intersection, where 17 people died in a bus crash in 2023. A bus carrying seniors crossed through the intersection in June 2023 and collided with a semi-trailer that had the right-of-way. The province had previously been reviewing other options to improve safety, which was met with negative response from local residents. Earlier this year, Carberry residents rejected a proposal to build an R-cut design. The R-cut required drivers to change lanes and make a U-turn in order to cross the highway. Canoes said the overpass would likely cost more than $100 million and that the design phase will begin next year. And Good Street Hall rings with music. And pictured to the left to right, Martin Finney of Harding, Manitoba, shares the stage with Logan and Colton McKillop, who were raised in Onanol. They performed in front of a packed house at the Good Street Hall in Erickson. Good Street Hall is a former church converted into a concert venue and community hub that includes markets, yoga, counseling services, and much more. Logan currently resides in the Yukon. Colton now hails from Winnipeg. The McKillop brothers attended high school in Erickson. And a little smile goes a long way. Tim Hortons Holiday Smile Cookies Aid Neepawa Hospital by Joshua Jackson. And Smile Cookie Week occurs November 17th to 23rd, helping the Neepawa Health Centre at the Neepawa location and Gladstone Area Senior Support at the Gladstone part. Who knew that helping your community could be as easy as picking up a cookie at Tim Hortons? That's what Prairie Mountain Health, along with the Neepawa Health Centre, encourage you to do from November 17th to 23rd when the Holiday Smile Cookie campaign takes place. Manager Health Services, Neepawa Health Centre, Christina Woodcock, said the team at Neepawa Health Centre is honored to have been chosen as the beneficiary of this year's Smile Cookie campaign. We all encounter the healthcare system in some way at some point in our lives, and this generous campaign allows for important fundraising, all while allowing folks to enjoy delicious cookies, she said. Funds raised from the Holiday Smile Cookie campaign will support equipment purchases like patient lifts, equipment carts, obstetrical monitors, and psychological monitors, which will be used by the current hospital as well as the hospital under construction. Woodcock said healthcare facilities are always faced with needs in many areas, so the extra boost in funding goes a long way. With so many competing priorities for healthcare resources, community contributions that can enhance the delivery of healthcare services are important and appreciated, she said. It is a great initiative that allows all community members to make a difference to enhance healthcare services in our area. The Neepawa Health Centre doesn't have a dollar figure they would like to achieve, but they know the community and surrounding areas always step up to support them. The healthcare in Prairie Mountain thank the local Tim Hortons for all of their continued support and contributions, both past and present. In 2024, the Tim Hortons Smile Cookie Week campaigns raised $10.7 million for local charities and community groups. The most recent Smile Cookie Week was in the spring, which helps raise funds for the Beautiful Plains Community Foundation. And also in the region, make sure you stop by the Gladstone Tim Hortons and get your Smile Cookie, as proceeds from their store go towards Gladstone Area Senior Support. And the Sunrise CU fuels ag members' futures. Sunrise Credit Union has fueled local success by awarding $15,000 in fuel gift cards through its Fuel Your Future contest. 3 Sunrise members, including David Swift from the Minnedosa branch, received $5,000 in fuel from their local gas stations. From August 1st to October 4th, individuals who applied for new agricultural loans and mortgages had the opportunity to participate in the Fuel Your Future contest. Pictured above, left to right, Jordan Brown, Loans Officer, Sunrise Credit Union, David Swift, Terry McClenahan, Minnedosa Branch Manager, and Don Swift. And on to sports. Neepawa Titans unable to defeat Dauphin by Owen Devereaux. And picture the Neepawa Titans had several opportunities against the Dauphin Kings on Friday, November 14th, including this near goal in the second period, but just fell short to the Kings 3-2. And goaltender Alex Myers made 35 saves for the Neepawa Titans in the game against Dauphin Kings. While the Neepawa Titans had their chances on Friday, November 14th against the Dauphin Kings, the team just couldn't take advantage and would ultimately fall 3-2. The Kings took the lead at the Yellowhead Centre just 8:27 into the opening period and didn't surrender it the rest of the way. Dauphin's Havril Simchuk scored on a breakaway. That lead would be extended in the second period as Sheldon Shayak would be credited with Doffin's second of the night. It should be noted, however, that 7:30 CKDM, the Kings' official radio broadcaster, states that the goal should be credited to Josh Schmidt. As of the banner and press print deadline, the league website was still crediting Shayak with the tally. Whomever scored the goal doesn't matter, however, to the Titans, as either way, they were now trailing by 2. Neepawa would have a number of opportunities to cut into the lead, as they had 4 power play chances in the middle frame. While Talon Wallace did score in the final of these 4 opportunities, there were several near goals that just barely missed the mark. One of those near misses included a Jack Clark chance at the side of the net that somehow goaltender Bryson Yakashin kept out of the back of the net. Despite Neepawa's aggressive push, the score was 2-1 Dauphin going into the third. For the third period, the Kings regained the 2-goal lead with a power play goal from Daniel Hellery. Late in the game, Jack Clark's omnipresence around the Kings' net paid off as he secured Neepawa's second of the game, making it 3-2. The Titans would throw everything they had at Dauphin in the final 4 minutes of regulation, but Yakashin stood tall and secured the 3-2 victory. The loss dropped Neepawa's record to 8-9-0-1 and has them tied for third place in the Western Division with the Wawasee Wolverines. The Titans returned to the ice for a game against the Portage Terriers on Wednesday, November 19th. The results of that contest were official after the banner and press publication deadline. Neepawa's next home game is scheduled for Friday, November 21st versus the Winnipeg Monarchs. Start time is set for 7:30 p.m. and the Yellowhead Center. And Neepawa farmers rally late to defeat the Carberry Plainsmen by Owen Devereaux. And pictured, Neepawa's Cohen Kilbacki, number 27, collects his first goal of the year for the Neepawa farmers. Though this was his first goal of the year, he's contributed with 6 assists in 4 games. And Carberry's Dylan Hood and Jory Kilbacki of Neepawa had themselves a tilt in the second period. Both players received game misconducts and 5 for fighting. A late-game goal from Garrett Rempel lifted the Neepawa Farmers to a 3-2 win over the Carberry Plainsmen on Saturday, November 15th. Rempel put away the winner with only 4 minutes and 26 seconds remaining in regulation, with Tarek Lapointe picking up the assist. The head goal was also scored less than a minute after Carberry's Trey Dixon had tied things up at 2-2. Kaylin Waldner collected the other goal for Carberry, while Rempel also scored for Neepawa in the second period, as did Cohen Kilbacki. The win improved the Neepawa Farmers' record in the Tiger Hills Hockey League to 3-1-0, while Carberry drops to 0-3-1. Elsewhere around the league, the Minnedosa Bombers dominated in their 9-0 victory over the Wawanesa Jets. Bryson Werbicki Mallet had a night to remember, putting up 6 points, 3 goals, 3 assists, including a natural hat trick in the second period. Ryan Hino and Rogan Robinson each pitched in for 4 points each, 1 goal, 3 assists, and 4 assists respectively, while Owen Riffle, James McCarville, Shane Jury, and Matt Saylor had the other goals for the Bombers. Minnedosa goaltender Devin Fordyce made 22 saves and picked up his first shutout of the year. This result improves Minnedosa's record to 4-0-0 and within striking distance of the first place in the league. The Hartney Blues and Rivers Jets sat atop the Tiger Hills Hockey League standings with identical 5-0-0 records to start the season. And the Tigers split games in WHSHL by Owen Devereaux. There were mixed results for the Neepawa Area Collegiate Institute, NACI, Tigers out on the ice this past week in the Westman High School Hockey League. While Neepawa was able to dominate at home, blanking the Hamiota Rivers Elton Huskies 4-0, they found themselves doubled up upon by the Swan Valley Tigers 8-4. In their first outing on Wednesday, November 12th, Ian Foster was all over the ice to lead Neepawa to a 4-0 win over the Huskies. Foster was a factor in all 4 goals, scoring 3 of them himself and adding an assist. Meanwhile, Foster's teammates Kane Lapointe, 1 goal, 2 assists, and Kellen Hawken, 2 assists, also came up big, while Jace Arrows stopped all 29 shots he faced in goal. Neepawa then traveled north to Swan River on Friday, November 14th, for a clash against their fellow felines, the Swan Valley Tigers. While the Tigers brought forth a tremendous effort, the Tigers were just too much for the Tigers and left the arena with an 8-4 victory over the Tigers. The Tigers, Swan Valley edition, jump out to an early lead with Ryland Latterroot scoring a pair of goals in the first period. Swan Valley added one very more early in the second before Neepawa replied. Zach Pleck collected a pair, while Kane Lapointe added one more. Swan Valley scored on a short-handed opportunity, however, to make the score 4-3 going into the last 20 minutes of regulation. For the final period, Swan Valley added 4 more goals to Neepawa's lone reply back in the form of an unassisted Kellen Hawken goal. That would make the final 8-4 result for the Swan Valley. The defeat dropped Neepawa's record to 4-2-0 and has him in a tie for 5th place in the league, standing with Hamiota and the Boys of Vane Broncos. And BU Brass Ensemble to Entertain in Neepawa by Casper Warehan, and pictured the Brandon University Brass Ensemble performed in Neepawa last December. They will return to the Roxy Theatre again on December 2nd. The Brandon University Brass Ensemble is making a turn to Neepawa on December 2nd. The university band will flood the stage at the Roxy Theatre, filling the auditorium with its refined sound. This special performance is being held in coordination with the Neepawa Middle School and Neepawa Area Collegiate Institute band programs, acting as a band booster fundraiser. We encourage the public to come and enjoy the live music. There will be a silver collection at the door. The recommended donation amount is $10 per person, but whatever you are able to contribute is greatly appreciated, said NACI band teacher Colleen Hallett. All proceeds go towards supporting the NACI and NMS band programs. Hallett added, live music is an important form of entertainment that people of all ages should experience, especially children. When kids get the opportunity to see firsthand what they can achieve through the practice and teamwork, the world opens up to them. We hope to make this show an annual tradition, so join us for the holiday fun. This year we have a very special performer in our group, NACI band graduate Macy Kilbourne, who is currently studying music at Brandon University. An inspirational evening. In addition to fundraising and providing entertainment to the public, these performances also hold significance for the students themselves. Students who attended last year's BU Brass Ensemble performance sang praises to the Neepawa banner and press. The performance felt very special to me and truly inspired me to continue band for the rest of high school and possibly after. It was all whimsical and made my entire week, said Althea Cabert. Martin Almarin added, they were amazing. They played the pieces with so much joy, and I enjoyed it. The way they played was so professional. As a band student, the value I hold on to from last year is I followed my passion and I will result in something good. Sophia Clavio echoed a similar sentiment. Their hard work was evident. I enjoyed everything about the performance, Clavio enthused. The value I hold on to from last year's event is the inspiration it brought upon me. I hope to be a great musician like them one day. Music is my passion. All wishing to attend the 2025 event may begin entering the theatre at 6:45 p.m. on December 2nd, with the show beginning at 7 p.m. And a submitted opinion editorial, Labour and Immigration, by Cam Dahl from Manitoba Pork. Immigration is a hot-button political issue. High unemployment rates for young Canadians, housing shortages, and skyrocketing rents have made politicians calling for dramatic changes to Canadian immigration policies. For example, some have been calling for an end to critical programs like the temporary foreign worker program and slashing the number of new permanent residents. The policy of the Government of Canada from 2015 to 2023 was one of wide open doors, with Canada admitting a record number of newcomers. Facing housing shortages, rising rents, and high unemployment for youth, and in some immigrant populations, the Government of Canada took a 180-degree policy pivot, cutting immigration targets. The targets for 2025 were almost 20% below the 2024 levels, with further reductions planned in the years to come. The initial allocation for the provincial nominee programs was cut in half. Those broad shifts do not serve the Canadian economy or new Canadians. The drivers behind the policy shift are real. Canada's big cities do have a housing crisis. Canadian youth are facing a difficult time finding jobs. Some regions of the country have seen an increased strain on social services and health care. Too many people have been admitted to Canada without a link to employment opportunities. However, a countrywide one-size-fits-all immigration and labour policy is not the right answer. What is needed for Toronto, Vancouver, or Montreal is not what is needed in other parts of the country. Pressures in other regions of Canada are not the same as in our large cities, and you Canadians are a critical part of the Manitoba labour force in places like Notre-Dame-de-Lourdes, Neepawa, Brandon, and Winnipeg. Provinces, not the federal government, are best positioned to manage the labour requirements in their own region. Lack of access to labour is an issue today for hog producers. There are current cases where farmers have shuttered barn sites due to labour shortages. This problem will only be exacerbated if further restrictions are placed on immigration. To ensure sustainable hog production and pork processing, Manitoba producers and processors rely on immigration programs like the Provincial Nominee Program. The sector hires foreign workers and supports them on a path to permanent residency to fill vacant positions. This approach successfully matches newcomers with stable, full-time work. There is a high retention rate of foreign workers brought in by the hog sector. Foreign workers receive training and put roots into the communities where they settle. Neepawa is a prime example of a town that has been revitalized by the influx of new Canadians. The town is one of the fastest growing in Canada, boasting a new hospital and new road infrastructure because of investment by the hog sector and immigrants brought in to support the industry. The negative impacts of labour shortfalls on hog producers and pork processors go beyond productivity losses. The sector has invested heavily in improving biosecurity and the ability to manage production diseases like porcine epidemic diarrhea and porcine reproductive and respiratory syndrome, as well as keeping foreign animal diseases like African swine fever and foot and mouth disease out of the country. Labour shortages make this work more difficult and add strain to producers' efforts to protect the animals under their care from disease. The impact of diseases like PED and PRRS are not theoretical. The last major outbreak of the PED in Manitoba, which began in the fall of 2021 and ran through the spring of 2023, is estimated to have cost the industry more than $100 million. Current estimates indicate that the PRRS in the U.S. is costing the industry there $1.65 billion annually. Hog production and processing in Manitoba have the opportunity for growth if barriers like labour shortfalls can be overcome. New building and investment not only provide on-farm and spin-off employment opportunities, but also help build and sustain Manitoba's rural communities through population growth, increased school enrollments, additional small business opportunities, and enhanced community services. Budget 2025 included commitments to prioritize immigration for rural, remote, and tariff-hit businesses, and to increase the number of new Canadians that are coming to fill specific jobs. These are positive announcements. However, it is not all that is needed. First, we need to abandon a blanket approach for all of Canada. Canada is a vast country with different needs for every region. Canadian immigration policy should reflect the country's diversity. For example, the Provincial Nominee Program has successfully helped meet regional needs. This program needs to be enhanced, not reduced. Second, policy should shift emphasis to the quality of immigration versus a primary focus on the number of people entering Canada. More newcomers should have skills aligned with the market needs, like the hog sector in Manitoba. Immigration and labour needs vary widely across Canada. Rather than governments delivering short, social media-ready sound bites, we should be focused on thoughtful immigration and labour policies targeting regional and sectoral needs. And let's see. The Beautiful Plains Community Foundation is pleased with results of Giving Challenge 2025. The Beautiful Plains Community Foundation, BPCF, participated in the Endow Manitoba Giving Challenge over the week of November 10th to 16th. During this week, funds donated to community foundations in Manitoba were stretched. Every $5 gift was turned into a $7 gift through the generosity of the Winnipeg Foundation and the Manitoba government. Donations made to the BPCF, along with the stretch funding, were invested in the BPCF's Community Fund. The BPCF receives the majority of its donations during the week of the Giving Challenge. Many of our generous donors wait until this giving week to make their donations, recognizing their gift goes further thanks to the stretched funds. The BPCF administers the Community Fund and a number of other long-term endowment funds. With an endowment fund, the charitable donations are invested and the interest earned every year is donated to causes that support our communities. Because most endowments last forever, the amount given to the BPCF through an endowment fund will surpass the value of the original gift. These permanent endowment funds ensure that the BPCF will always be able to provide grants to meet the growing needs of communities. The BPCF plays an essential role in strengthening the Neepawa area communities by providing the stability and long-term support that helps local organizations there. By building the permanent endowment funds, the BPCF ensures that charitable dollars stay in the area forever, generating annual grants that strengthen healthcare, education, recreation, and many other vital services. This support allows local groups to plan for the future, respond to emerging needs, and continue offering programs that improve daily life for people in the communities. Beyond funding, the BPCF also brings people together by connecting donors, volunteers, and community leaders to create meaningful change. Its presence helps ensure that Neepawa and the surrounding communities remain vibrant, resilient, and well supported both today and for generations to come. This year's Giving Challenge was a success for the BPCF. Thanks to the generosity of donors and community supporters, and with the help of the Winnipeg Foundation and the Manitoba government, the BPCF raised $31,295, which will be invested into the Unrestricted Community Fund. The amount raised this year more than doubles that of previous years. According to Melissa Grindham, Executive Director of BPCF, seeing firsthand how committed to the community is and how much support the BPCF received during this year's Giving Challenge was truly remarkable. The BPCF accepts donations all year round, not only during the Giving Challenge. It is never too late to contribute to our beautiful communities. The deadline for 2025 contributions to receive a charitable tax donation receipt is Tuesday, December 30th. And Newdale hosts Community Cribbage Tournament. And pictured Dale Colasol of Sandy Lake on the left and Larry Zerbick of Elphinstone on the right won this year's Newdale Cribbage Tournament. The third annual Newdale Cribbage Tournament was held on November 8th at the Newdale Community Hall. In total, 60 people, 30 teams, competed against each other for huge cash prizes. First place was awarded to Dale Colasol of Sandy Lake and Larry Zerbick of Elphinstone. Second place and the halfway highest score went to Ed Broom and Lloyd Wilmot of Brandon, and third place to Cindy Ruppel and Diane Sandstrom of Minnedosa. Guess the number of jelly beans in the jar contest was won by Noston Hart of Thompson, which he graciously shared with the entire group. The 50-50 draw of 422 was split between Newdale Harrison House Christmas Meal Program and Larry McMurtry of Soul Lake. The roast beef dinner was tasty and enthusiastically embraced. Congratulations to all the winners. Thank you to the participants who supported our small community and the Newdale Cribbage Committee volunteers who helped make this tournament a success. And the Arts West Traveling Gallery reaches Neepawa. The 46th annual edition of the Arts West Traveling Gallery was displayed right here in Neepawa recently. The exhibit had its last day at the Neepawa Library on November 15th and featured 20 works from Westman artists. These works were selected out of 142 entries to the 46th Westman Juried Art Show by jurors Leona Brown and Ben Davis. The Traveling Gallery will visit a total of 18 communities in southwestern Manitoba over the next year. Shown here are some of the pieces that were on display. Top left, The Sorcerer by Cheyenne Van Steeland of Milita. Top right, Happy Meal Surprise by Shannon Desjardins of Neepawa. Bottom left, Hope by Geraldine Nelson of Neepawa. And bottom right, Donor by Mike Davids of Neepawa. And Co-op Fund Spiel Curls for a Worthy Cause by Owen Devereaux. Community Ministries Director Amanda Nottingale accepts the commemorative check from Neepawa Gladstone Co-op, who were able to raise the funds from its second annual Fund Spiel. The management and staff of the Neepawa Gladstone Co-op had so much fun helping out a local cause last year that they decided to do it again this year, only this time bigger and better than before. The Neepawa Gladstone Co-op hosted its second annual Co-op Fund Spiel on November 7th at the Neepawa Curling Club. This event brought together community members for an exciting day of curling, which also assisted in raising funds for upgrades to the Salvation Army's cargo van. In total, 12 teams participated in the day's festivities, which included a round or two curling, as well as a raffle and meal. The day's activities proved to be an amazing revenue generator for the charity, as $4,241 was brought in from the combined fundraising efforts and sponsorships. That number is an incredible jump up from last year's results, which saw a combined $2,510 raised. Amanda Nottingale, Community Ministries Director at Salvation Army Neepawa, noted that the funds will go towards a new cargo van for food rescue and deliveries to the satellite food bank in McCreary. So the van will most likely cost upwards of $100,000 to purchase. We need a style of cargo van that is refrigerated, and so that will be expensive. This support from the co-op gets us moving on that process. Neepawa Gladstone Co-op have been so supportive of us throughout the years, and we are so appreciative. Neepawa Gladstone Co-op would like to thank the sponsors of the event: Neepawa Curling Club, High Life, Brett Young, Koretva, Bayer, and Adama, as well as the curlers and spectators who attended the event. And Looking Back by Caspar Werhan. November 1900, 125 years ago. Mrs. Bouchard celebrated her 75th birthday at the residence of her son-in-law, Mr. Neelands, near Rapid City last week. There was a family gathering, and Mrs. Bouchard was the recipient of many congratulations from relatives and friends on the auspicious occasion. From the Reporter, November 15th. 100 years ago, 1925, Eden, Miss Nurse Code, returned to her nursing duties at Brookdale on Wednesday. Arden, a tidy little cottage, 22 by 22, has been recently built and finished on the H. Ritchie Farm in Glenholm for the Soldier Settlement Board. William Stockdale had the contract. He is kept busy this fine weather with his workmen, including for the soldier settlement on the old Joe Bowler farm. McCreary, Jake Schmidt, east of McCreary, is selling his farm outfit, also household effects, on Monday, November 23rd. Mr. Schmidt is moving south again. Kelwood. A deputation of Kelwood citizens went to Neepawa last Monday to protest high tax assessment on account of the 1923 survey of the village. They took with them a largely signed petition regarding the same business from the property owners of the village. W.J. Docking, 2 miles west of town, lost his barn by fire on Wednesday evening. Fortunately, the livestock got out, but their winter feed was destroyed, together with some harness and other equipment. There was full insurance on the building and some of the feed, but this is small recompense to a dairyman in the beginning of winter. Telephone reconstruction in town is going smoothly and with little inconvenience. Better service and better appearance are evident already. It is now up to the town to put the light and power service in similar condition. With first-class service, the taxation bellyache will soon be cured. The letterbox, which was at the rest home corner, has been removed across the street to King's Corner. Arthur Boyce is meeting with encouragement in his candidature for the town council. Arthur is one of the young men who are growing up with the town and deserves success. 75 years ago, 1950. First encouraging sign that petroleum underlies Manitoba occurred when a drill stem test yielded a quantity of the black gold from the 3,300-foot level at the Downey No. 1 well in Melita in the southwest corner of the province. At Verdun, west of here, near the Saskatchewan border, the California Standard Oil Company have prepared a spud-in with the biggest drilling rig ever used in Manitoba. 50 years ago, 1975, and Neepawa, most beautiful town in Manitoba. And pictured, Neepawa was declared the most beautiful town in Manitoba in 1975 with the winning of the Shea Drury Trophy. This was the 7th time Neepawa has won the trophy since its inception by the Manitoba Good Roads Association in 1939. Mayor Lawrence Harrell can be seen holding the trophy with councillors Peter Cottingham, John Kerr, Fred Barker, Gary Ellman, Secretary-Treasurer George Bates, Bill Gwynn, Mel Chambers, and Superintendent Gordon Murray flanking him. Bert MacDonald, a 21-year-old farmer from Brookdale, left Monday to work for 6 months in Australia as part of an exchange program organized by the International Agricultural Exchange Association. Council of the village of McCreary met in the council chambers Thursday, November 13 at 7:30 p.m. Motions were approved that rules be suspended and leave given to introduce a bylaw to establish a regional library for the village of McCreary. The general orders you have come down to Kellington Auditorium and watch him in this year's major production of Romanoff and Juliet, a Peter Ustinov play. This year's production, a satirical tongue-in-cheek look at the morals and values of two great nations, Russia and the USA, is the most ambitious play ever attempted by NACI. In brief, the story revolves around the daughter of an American ambassador in some obscure little country in Europe. These two have fallen deeply in love, much to the horror and disbelief of their parents. Their love affair has been arranged with the help of a matchmaker, the General. An effort to open the Neepawa post office for local mail service using volunteer help has been delayed pending the approval of the plan by the post office representatives in Ottawa. Beautiful Plains Horticultural Society had held its annual general meeting recently, at which new officers were installed. Elected president was Elsie Pilkey and vice president is Alice Mosier. A 50-year tradition will be broken this week when Manitoba's livestock contingent to the Toronto Royal Winter Fair traveled to their destination by truck rather than rail. 8 large semi-trailer livestock vans will haul 254 head of cattle, horses, and swine to the classic agricultural event. Only 3 horses have spurned the newfangled mode and elected train travel instead. Glenella. Congratulations to Mary Edna Clark, daughter of Mrs. Anne Clark and Hugh Lawrence McLean, son of Mr. and Mrs. D.R. Manitou, who were married Saturday, November 8th at Sacred Heart Catholic Church, Gladstone. The reception was held in the Glenella Centennial Hall. 20 years ago, 2005, rural Manitoba hotel owners claimed the province's butt ban is snuffing out their business. Students had the day off Tuesday after the 3rd major snowstorm of the season dumped over 25 centimeters of snow on Neepawa. Erickson. Mike Braschuk has been acclaimed mayor of Erickson. Franklin. The Franklin community members decided to purchase a memorial wreath to be placed on our war memorial monument in front of the hall. We appreciate Donald Nicholson's donation of the wreath. And finally, at NACTV, we're here again. Our annual general meeting is November 24th, 2025, 7 p.m. at the Neepawa Library. We're looking for volunteers and board members, as is everyone else. And highlights of the week, the Neepawa Remembrance Day Service 2025, November 24th at 12 p.m., November 27th at 1:15 p.m., and November 30th at 8:15 p.m. And Coffee Chat, Beautiful Plains Community Foundation Gala, November 24th, 1 p.m., November 26th at 3:30 p.m., and November 30th at 9:15 p.m. And another Coffee Chat, Beautiful Plains Community Theater, November 25th at 8:15 p.m., November 27th at 6:30 p.m., and November 29th at 1 p.m. And don't forget our weekly bingo, Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock. And that concludes the reading of the Neepawa Banner and Press for Friday, November 21st. Thanks for watching.